Okay, man, are you ready to go?
I'm ready to go. Now, come on, now crank this motherfucker up.
Break it down like this.
Hello, Internet. Gino that Pinguino is not here today because I've taken over the podcast. As we promised on our Blueprints episode, there was more to be said because my co-hosts were weak little babies and only got to ending one of Blueprints. So today we are going to be doing a Blueprint spoiler cast. I have explored as much of the game as currently humanly possible. And we're going to be talking about the late game stuff, such as the various other endings you might see as you go through the game. We're going to be talking about the late game puzzles, and we're going to be covering basically everything from lore to the various other elements that might be might reveal some stuff that you don't want to listen to. So this is a spoiler warning before we even get into the show. This is going to contain spoilers. Some puzzle answers might be included. If you don't want any of that, dip out now, because we're not going to hold back. Joining me for this adventure, adventure slash puzzle slash mystery slash board game, from Off the Deep End, you know him as Adam Borgmaster Redacted. Hello.
Yes, hello. I'm here to reveal that the true final ending is that was all a dream.
Whoa. Fuck. You think that they would do that? Do you think that's a
No,
possibility?
no. I mean, considering what lore I do know and what I know about the story, that when someone eventually solves through to the final ending, it should just do like a frog fractions thing where it unlocks a new
Oh,
mode that gets
shit.
downloaded into everyone's
Hell
installs,
yeah.
and it's just Nobunaga's ambition at that point.
Oh, fuck. That would be great. See,
Because you reclaim that you have to rebuild Ordis, okay?
right.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
like
And
you
then,
are the new king of Ordis. So you have to go around and you have to do the Nobunaga's ambition thing.
oh, I see. That would be crazy. I was thinking we
Yeah,
go full ARG mode, and then you're just doing like puzzles in real life. It like you solve the Atelier puzzle, and then it's like, all right, now go to, I don't know, Calgary and find this particular like brick and move it, and then that will be a puzzle, you know? That's if it gets really crazy.
but then you're going to Calgary.
Mm.
I mean, also
Well,
this is just a guy. I don't think he has the resources
yeah,
to do that.
we gotta
That
keep in mind that it is one guy for the most part, um, who has said or has not said that uh, no one has reached the end of the game yet. So, uh, specifically in that previous episode, I mentioned he did an interview, um, and they asked him, "Has anyone actually seen the end of the game?" And he said, "No comment." So maybe there's a there's a world out there where it's like you show up at his house and you're like, "I'm the blueprints now," and he's like, "Finally, someone did it." I don't know.
finally someone can take this cursed stone sculpture from me. Uh,
uh, that thing's a interesting little wrinkle in this. All right, before we get too in depth here, I gotta do the normal housekeeping, or Gina will get mad at me. Reminder, you can get in touch with the show at deeplistenspodcast@gmail.com. You can also support the show at patreon.com/deeplistens. And you can go to deeplistens.libsyn.com. We have our comment sections. Supporting the show on Patreon at the $1 tier will get you access to our Discord, where you can yell at us about such things as blueprints and other games and food and all sorts of Final Fantasies. And if you support us at the $3 tier, you can get access to the OG Soundcast, our anime podcast, which is currently watching Martian Successor Nadesico, which is a thing that I think they completely made up.
Is
I,
it Nadesco?
is it Nadesco? Is it something else?
I think it's. I mean, I think they've been saying
Nadesico?
Nadesco.
Nadesico. I don't know. It's just look up Martian Successor something, and I'm sure you'll find it. But maybe you won't because I think they made up the title. We're also rapidly approaching our 60 Patreon tier goal. This will force us to play a torturous game, which we haven't decided on yet because we have a number of options. I know that Gollum is on that list. Death Stranding might be on there just because it will be bad for Gino. I know that the Off the Deep End crew will be playing Raven's Cry, a game so bad, quotes, they pulled the non-functional original distribution of it. Is that true?
Yeah, I'm not sure it came out, or if
Oh,
it did come out, it came out very temporarily.
hmm.
Some things will need to happen to gain access to that game.
I see. We won't have to go into the details for legal reasons, but some funny business is going to occur. Yeah, so that's the regular housekeeping. I'm not gonna do a Discord report because Gino's not here and can't make me do it. And also, all the channels are gray right now because I've looked at them all and I don't remember what's in them. But also, this podcast might be long. We'll see.
Is it?
I don't know. Could be long. Let's jump right into it. Why are we doing this episode? Like we said, there is a lot to uncover with blueprints. And the format that we do for this podcast is a very quick turnaround time. We usually play games in 2 weeks, which is for a game like this, probably not enough time. The only reason that I can sort of do all that is because I started playing this game like 2 months ago. How much time have you put into this game, Borgmaster?
It's been on. I've been playing on Game Pass. I've been switching between PC and console, so I really do not have a play time for this. But let's say 20 plus hours.
Okay. I revealed this on the other show, and a lot of my game time is conflated because sometimes I would just leave it overnight because I had a really good day that I didn't want to like end early. So it says that I have over 100 hours, but that's probably closer to like, I don't know, 60.
Oh,
Uh,
so you pulled the old NES trick of
yes.
leaving the console on to preserve your score.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. At one point, I had an idea that the planetarium had something to it, And so I was just standing in the planetarium looking up, waiting for the planets to align, literally waiting for like some some planetary thing to occur, and then it would open like a secret hatch or whatever. I don't even know what I was expecting.
Wait,
Uh,
so rotating the dome and moving the
oh
telescope
no.
doesn't actually do anything?
So, did you find the secret compartment on the telescope?
There's a secret compartment on the telescope?
All right. Well, well, maybe you should look into that. uh, yeah, there is another there is the observatory, which is where the actual telescope is, and then there is a secret compartment in the telescope which you have to like maneuver it a certain way, and then you can open it up.
Okay, that's what that
And then
was.
inside that there is a new room called the planetarium, and the planetarium is
Oh,
basically a dead end. Yeah, that just like has a list of like what the star formations are, and doesn't seem to do anything else. But I was like, maybe because you look up and there's like a mobile, like one of those like planetary orbital things.
yeah.
And I was like, if I was designing this room, I would have it be like a 1% chance to line up exactly. I was like, let me just stand here for like 6 hours and see if anything happens. And it never lined up. So I don't know. Uh, so yeah, I've put a lot of hours into this game, just like trying shit. Um, and probably more than I reasonably should have.
But
uh,
many more hours than you should have. Many more hours
yes,
than it deserves.
yes. Uh, which brings us to our next order of business. You don't like this game.
No, I'm on certain levels. I feel I'm personally offended by this game.
Uh-huh. Say
As
more.
as a fan of like the first person puzzle adventure genre,
Mm-hmm.
if there's a genre like that whole style of game,
Mm-hmm.
this offends me. My expectations the last for most of this decade, I guess, has
Mm-hmm.
been you're going to get one good one of these a year. You know, it could
Mm-hmm.
either be really good or somewhat good, but like there's usually like one of these that comes out a year, and it's in my top 10, right? So it's like, okay, what's my yearly first person puzzle adventure game?
So
And
what was last year's, just to give a sense of like
last year, well, I just migrated all these to a spreadsheet. It was Botany Manor last year.
I don't even know what that is.
Oh,
Is it
it was people streamed it for like a month when it came out. It was
let's
like a
see.
puzzle house thing. It's a puzzle house thing where where the rooms all stay in the same place.
Uh-huh.
And so
All right,
it
so
makes
already a
sense.
step up.
Yes, it's
Oh,
already an improvement.
this looks cute. Maybe we'll play this on the main pod at some point.
Yeah, and then like there's House Principle 2, which you're all of you are too cowardly to play, including you, dear listener. You are a coward because you have not played Talos Principle 2.
Ah.
Uh, unless Mento's listening to this. And then like Escape Academy.
Mhm.
You know, I'm a huge fan of the of Outer Wilds and Oberdin.
Ah, yes. We do have some comparisons to that you take umbrage with. When I was trolling through for quotes. Uh,
Yes, and I mean like I also a fan of Gone Home. I mean, there's not like really plenty
mhm,
puzzles there, but I was a fan of that. I like Tacoma, the follow up Firewatch, great game.
mhm.
So kind
Is
of like the first
Firewatch in the
person.
same
Like,
Firewatch like similar genre?
well, I mean, I guess that's a walking simulator, but like first person, like narrative adventure kind of thing.
Mhm.
You know, like
Gotcha.
the Witness is a puzzle last puzzle game, and
Yeah.
for as horribly pretentious as it is, it's still very good.
Hmm.
You know, so
Let's
like
see.
first person puzzle, first person narrative adventure, that kind of, and the intersection of those. is like one of the genres that I look out for, and the last several years you get one of those a year.
Right.
So this was the one this year.
Uh-huh.
This is a lost year. Just a complete write-off.
Yeah. You think this is insufficient in the grand scheme of things compared to other such games?
Yes.
Okay. What is the deciding factor for you? Like, what makes it completely just not worth consideration for you?
I'm not a fan of deck builders.
Okay.
When I
Well,
talk about
that's
Balatro, there's profanity involved.
uh-huh.
That's not a style of game. That will yuck my yum when you mix that in with anything.
Gotcha.
And so doing that here when it's not when it's either like the adventure game stuff is out of place and this like deck building like house building game, or the deck building stuff is out of place in this first person adventure game. Right, the two don't
It's
mix.
a mismatch. Yeah.
It's
I see what you're saying.
oil and water, which
Right.
someone doing this experimentally, putting out on itch or like as like a $5 or $10 Steam thing, like, oh hey, that's a neat experience. It's 5 hours long. I can see what you're doing here. You know, I mean, the concept doesn't work, but now we know it doesn't work, and this is actually a very valuable thing you did. A $30 like major like Game Pass like marketing for with like the major manufacturers, like a big deal game. This is the one of these this year. To take this swing, a swing that misses 100% of the time, it turns out.
Damn.
That's it's disheartening.
Yeah. I guess I have some quotes from you from trawling through the Discord just to elucidate your stance on this. So let's see. This is an episode where you are going to cope and seethe about blueprints to me. Of we've degenerated enough as a culture that this year's indie mystery house game is a roguelike based around drafting board game horseshit. Worst misfire of the year. Worst game I've played since Two Human. I see what you're doing and you're an asshole. Yeah. Watching blueprint speedruns would be like boofing rubbing alcohol. A pervert misgame with cards. Actually, that one was from Zeto.
Yeah, that's from Zeto.
If Blueprints is this year's Balatro, I'm going to redacted myself. It's Baby Mist with a screenshot randomizer.
That is true.
There are extremely few games I would describe as pompous, but Blueprints is on that list.
That's all very true, actually.
And in terms of first-person puzzle adventure games, I'd put Blueprints at the bottom rank of the ones I played. I'm baffled why this is a critical darling. Did Balatro give everyone brain poisoning? So
that was brainworms. Okay, yes.
Could be brainworms. Brainworms are usually good bad and not bad. I thought
brainworms were the thing that take control of your body and like make you want to drink bleach to cure autism.
Well, yeah, there's that too. So, yeah, I think that that kind of puts a pretty good point on where you're at with this one.
No, I mean, a couple of those were shit posts, and should be taken lightly. 2 or 3 of those quotes.
Okay, all right, not totally as mad about it as you may see.
The more extreme
on
quotes
the Discord
are shit posts I thought were funny.
Gotcha. It was pretty funny. I mean, I was laughing as I took them down and read them. So yeah, and I have been on record as saying I kind of like this game. I mean, at this point, I'm pretty much done with what I can see of it. But I still boop around a little bit, like put some rooms down, see what I can discover, and the answer is not a lot else. uh, Once you get to the point that I'm at, it seems as though that is the cap, and the the brightest minds of the internet are working on it, and I'm just gonna hang out here, not knowing what is after like the point I'm at, because it doesn't exist until people can figure it out. Um, so
Perfect
so
allegory of the cave, but a video game.
yeah, I
It's like
mean,
it's all illusions, people. Turn around.
it it is the illusion of a puzzle. It's the illusion of finding stuff out.
It's illusion
I
of
don't.
meaning, is what it is.
Yes, there is, in theory, things to discover here, um, but it's not gonna matter for anything. Like, I'm not, you know, I can't transfer any of the skills I've gained, quote unquote, to anything useful.
Well, I mean, it's a video game. Like that's not what I,
Yeah,
what I'm talking about. About
right.
the illusion of meaning.
Hmm.
Because I mean, do we want to just get into the plot, the story first, or the puzzles first?
Sure.
Like, do we want to get into like what the payoff is supposed to be, or like what you're supposed to be doing to get the payoff?
I guess let's start from what the eventual payoff is,
Okay,
uh, and work our way backwards.
so I'm going to spout it off, and you please correct me or fill
Go
in.
for it. Hmm.
Well, first thing you play as, what was it, Duncan Jones? What the hell is the kid's name? You play as Simon Jones,
Simon, yes.
Simon Simon P. Jones, or whatever.
Mhm.
You inherit this mystery house from your dead great uncle. The internet thinks the dead great uncle is gay because he was a confirmed bachelor.
Mhm.
I guess.
And
It doesn't really
he did
come
have
up.
like a letter that you can find that may imply that he's gay if
Oh,
you
the
read it in a
blackmail letter,
certain light. It's like there's a
because the
letter to
blackmail is about something
his.
else.
Yeah, the blackmail is something else. There's a letter to his like driver, I think, um,
Oh,
where he's like says a whole bunch of stuff and is like, I don't know how to say this in like I can't say this, so I'm going to write it. Um, and he says a bunch of stuff, but you have to really like squint to see it. I'm not sure if I'm sold on that reading personally, but
so like a Victorian era confirmed bachelor.
right, exactly.
Okay, yeah, yeah. So
Yep.
there's that. Which okay. And then as you go through the house, there's a like and learn like the backstory of the family. Part of it feels like what's the name of that game? That walking simulator plays a girl going through like the house that like her
Gone home.
generations had been building up.
Oh, Edith Finch.
Oh yeah, yeah. The disappearance of Edith Finch, or the something of
What
Edith Finch.
remains of Edith Finch,
What
I think.
what
Yeah.
remains of Edith Finch?
Hmm.
Now that game, y'all should.
I think we
Yeah,
did a long time ago.
a long time
That
ago.
was like
Okay.
that was like one of the first games I think we did where I was on the show. Um,
Okay.
mhm,
I would have loved to have been in that
yeah.
voice chat. Uh, but yeah, like some of the like family storytelling feels like that. It's like really you haven't cleaned up this bunk bedroom for 60 years, and
Hmm.
we're getting these like ancient like diary entries from your great uncle and his brother.
Hmm.
Like Clara Sinclair's
Right.
room. Like I mean, it's untouched because they sealed it off. At least that makes sense story
Hmm.
wise.
Yep.
Yeah, so so you're going through and you're very slowly, very slowly piecing together like the history of this house and your family and what they're all up to. Simon's mother, Marion, not Sinclair.
Mary.
Well, no, she has two names. It's Mary something, and then Marion Marigold or something as her pen name.
Yeah. Let's
Because
see.
she's
Hold on. Let me look at my little notebook here. I wrote it down somewhere.
it's not Mary Sinclair. It's
Marion Marigold. It's her pen name.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I didn't write the last name on it.
Oh, I mean Mary Jones because she got married. I guess.
Yeah. Mary Matthew Epstein. Epson? Yeah.
Epstein. Okay, so Mary Epstein. Uh, uh, is Simon's mother. She disappeared years ago. Also, you're 14. You're a 14-year-old doing this, just living in a tent in the winter in this mountain next to this house by yourself. Even after you unlock the 46th room, the staff doesn't come back. You're just wintering in this tent on this cliff next to this mansion. But anyway, that's neither here nor there.
Yeah. You are explicitly not allowed to sleep in the house.
Yeah.
Which I don't know. It seems cruel.
Even after you reached like credits, when
Yeah.
that's you supposed to be claiming the house as your own.
You inherit the house when you get to room 46. So shouldn't you be waking up in the master bedroom? I don't know.
And like, shouldn't the staff be around? Oh, but character models are
Yeah.
super hard. I don't blame for not putting character
Yeah.
models. But anyway, so you're doing this. You're going through. You're finding out bits and pieces about your eccentric great uncle who loves puzzles, which is why you're doing all these puzzles in the first place. And your mother, who was a children's book author, she wrote The Red Prince, a best-selling children's book. You can find the Red Prince later in the game, like in the post Room 46 stuff. You can find, I guess, the late game. I suppose you can find a rough draft of the Red Prince, what it was originally supposed to be about,
Right.
because she was very political
Yeah.
in this like fictional world. Also, like it looks like Victorian England, but it's not. It's a fantasy world.
It is a completely different planet.
Completely different planet.
Mhm.
That's just very similar to Victorian England.
Yeah.
So also your father doesn't matter.
Uh-huh.
Mr. Jones. He's I guess living back in the city, and he sends a letter encouraging you on. Which thanks, Dad.
It's
Dad of the
sweet.
year.
I mean,
Uh,
he's he's doing what he can, which is write you one letter, and I think
exactly
that's
one.
it.
and,
Uh,
and yeah, your mother's disappeared. Grandfather has been dead for a while.
mhm.
If I recall.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
Clara, who was Clara again? She was
Clara was
Mary's mother,
your
the grandmother.
grandmother. Yes.
Okay, yeah.
Mhm.
She died of some Victorian wasting disease, as
Yeah.
one does. Uh,
Many such cases.
and yeah, that happens all the time.
Mhm.
So like, she had died a long time ago, and that's why her room is sealed off in the house. And the diary. I'll get to the diary later. We'll talk about that diary.
Yeah.
Uh,
Oh, yeah.
but and then it's Herbert Sinclair who's the great uncle. He inherits the house because he's the older brother, and his father is the one. I guess so Simon's great grandfather is the one who bought the house to begin with because he
It's
was
like,
a count, and he bought it from a baroness.
mhm,
Like he bought the land from the baroness, and then he had the house built while excavating the ruins underneath the house. And this
right.
all would have happened like 80 years before the game. This is where I get fuzzy.
Mhm. Yeah.
Like,
So it seems as though they were like, I don't know if he was living there yet, but they were like looking underneath where the mansion is now. This was, let's see if I have any
like
dates here.
1917 in like that calendar
Yeah.
because the game takes
Yes.
place in 1990 or something in that
Yeah.
calendar.
Yeah, we are in 93, I believe.
93.
Uh,
Okay.
So 80 years before, and they find a castle underneath where the mansion is, which is the former like uh, castle that the king of Oris lived in.
Is it Oris or
Uh,
Ortis? I keep getting that mixed up.
or let's see, hold on, how do we say it? Well, it's Orindia, and then it
I guess it is Oris.
becomes
Okay.
Oris. Yeah, capital was Reddington, moved to Oris. Um, there is a bunch of world stuff. We could talk about all that world stuff. It doesn't really matter.
I mean,
Um,
again, this is a video game. None of it really matters.
yes, that's
But it
true.
is the payoff for solving all these puzzles, poking into every
Yeah.
corner, reading all these documents. You're like, okay, you're on this continent. This continent has several places in it.
Mhm.
Ares, Fen, or whatever it's called. You know, there's other continents that really don't matter.
Yeah.
And then like the kingdom of Oris was the main kingdom on the continent you're on. Hundreds of years ago, it was overthrown, conquered by I guess the current government you live under,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
and anyone who is unhappy, I guess in the Oris region, who's unhappy about being owned by what is it Finn Ares? It's like the
Um,
metropole now,
y-
I guess.
yes, they became Fen Ares after the war.
Okay.
So that's why the red banners are like
Or
bad.
like the right. That's why because red is the color of like whatever the royal family that
Right.
conquered is of, and blue
Yeah.
was the color of the old Oris royal family. So red prince, blue prince. Uh, there was what's the word I'm looking for?
Hmm.
People who are devotees of a dynasty that's been put out of power.
What would that be? Like, I don't know.
There's someone listening to this who's just like shouting the word at us right now.
Yeah, yeah. Uh, you know what we mean, listener.
Yeah, yeah. So apparently, local politics in the region. There's an there's like a strain under the surface of uh legitimists of Orisian legitimists
Hmm.
who uh don't like being under the red banner. They
Hmm.
yearn for freedom and the blue banner. And you learn over the game that Simon's mother, Mary, had gotten mixed up in some less than legal goings on
Yeah.
in her political activism, because the Red Prince was originally a children's book with political undertones criticizing the government. Had to be
Yep.
edited heavily for that, and she really wanted to write the Blueprints
Hmm.
because the Blueprints is the legitimate heir of the Oris throne.
Right. But that was deemed too political,
It was censored.
because yeah, she got censored, and then that leads her down a path of becoming a revolutionary.
Of like
uh,
radicalization, I suppose.
yeah. She goes to quite a bit of trouble to um, steal the crown, like the former crown of the country.
Of
They do a
Oris.
whole heist, yes. Um, and this is like all background stuff that you're piecing together from like letters that you read. Uh, you can find their hideout underneath the reservoir
Oh,
that's
we'll
down
get to
there.
that.
Yeah. Um, there's they're like doing dry runs of the heist that they're gonna do because this shifting house, they can like uh they can like make up rooms, and so they make a like, here's the exhibit where we're gonna steal the crown from. And then they're like, okay, we have a bunch of security measures, here's how we're gonna get past it. And then you can like recreate this scenario in order to get like an item. um, yeah. So,
Oh wait,
yeah.
what's the item that's the payoff for recreating her mother's
Uh,
Heretic heist?
it is the red crown, which does like a little thing. Uh, I usually don't pick it up because it's not worth the trouble. Because you have to do like a whole bunch of shit that is dependent on like getting the room set up in a very particular way. You have to have a quick path from the back of the closed exhibit around to the front, uh, and then you have to get the red crown, which I will just look up. Red crown blueprints is the paper crown found in the closed exhibit. It redraws floor plans if there are no red rooms in the initial draft, which by the time I'm usually getting most of these items, I have a pretty good amount of the floor done, so it doesn't really matter.
I guess you could store it or use or try to look at the moon
Yeah,
pendant to like carry it over, but then like what's the point?
right.
Then
Yeah.
yeah, so not a lot of payoff for all that effort.
Hmm. Hmm.
Anyway, so yeah, she and her crew they go steal the blue crown, and of course Herbert Sinclair, the great uncle, is in on it.
Hmm.
And he stashes the crown for them, and they fuck off to somewhere.
I think they're
Dot.
in hiding. Yeah,
They're
we don't.
hiding somewhere.
Yes.
Uh,
Uh,
but she's gone. She's disappeared, which
yeah.
is why you are inheriting the house.
Hmm. As it currently stands, with what we know about the game, we don't know where they ended up. Maybe there is a ending where you get to see your mom again, but who knows?
Which
Because no one has finished the game.
that's the logical payoff of the story.
Right.
Is
Yeah.
it's it's like, hey, this like the whole emotional hook here. Like even in like the like before you hit room 46, like you realize that the emotional hook is your mom did some stuff. Like people assume she's dead, but she's actually in hiding somewhere for
Right.
political reasons, and
Hmm.
she's right about her political reasons.
Yeah.
So,
Based on yeah, based on the timeline, you haven't seen your mom in at least like 6 years, I think. I think they did the heist in 87 and it's 93 now. So uh it just seems to be leading in the direction of and now your mom is there, you know? But
or like you fuck off to find your mom. Like
right.
screw this mystery house, right?
Yeah. You get to the
Like
point where you have a clue. You're gonna take the car keys and go to the car and go for a drive and find your mom. Who knows? But we're not there yet. So
that
no
would
one
make
will ever
sense.
know.
And that's like the emotional payoff of the story, because stories
Right.
usually have emotional payoffs at the end.
Hmm.
Correct me if I'm wrong about storytelling.
uh, I think from what I've known about stories, they usually have an ending. Whether or not it's a satisfying ending is another story. No pun intended. Um, but yes, generally there should be an emotional payoff, which this game has yet to prove it has. Uh,
So
in
that's kind of like
the
the lore of the family, of the house. And,
yes.
you can find notes about the different servants, people who worked there.
Hmm.
Uh, the guy who there's a rich guy who found out that well, okay, so the excavations, like 80 years
Hmm.
before the game starts, they find the castle, and are the Sinclairs descended from the Oris royal family, or are they just now, you know, because they are sitting on top of the Oris capital, like squatters' rights
So
to the Oris throne?
yeah. So based on the let's see, based on the family tree, it seems as though your like great great grandmother was she was the queen or like in line to be queen. This is the Baroness Orave. She is like a direct descendant from the crown, and then she got displaced because of everything that happened, and had to flee from the country. And then, 80 years or whatever pass, and then you are uh, reclaiming her crown, which she wanted your mother to do. If you read certain notes, it seems to be implied that she was like, you should go back there and do all this. And then your mother fucked off. So we don't know where she ended up with that. Uh, and
And that explains the note in the tomb, like
yes.
that well written letter. The whole
Hmm.
you have these dreams, you want to do, you want to go off and do all these things,
Hmm.
but you're not going to. You're going to inherit the house and write a letter
Right.
like this one day, like I have done.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something
Mm-hmm.
you find, I guess, on what I call the early game. So I call it everything before Room 46 that you're likely to encounter to be the early
Mm-hmm.
game.
Yep. Yeah.
And the one thing
That's.
about it, everything between Room 46 and the cutscene where you crown yourself on the throne
Hmm.
to be
That's
the mid game,
mm-hmm.
and everything after that's the late game bullshit. That's the way I
Yes.
kind of think about it. You have a different classific organization system.
I have a little bit more broken down, but it's basically the same structure. Um, there's like unlocking room 46 is the early stage. And then before that, you have to do like all the early upgrades. You have to find the antechamber levers. You have to get into the basement. Those are the big components of it. Once you unlock room 46, you get the first ending. And then from there, my thing is broken down into a couple different like sub categories. Getting the sanctum keys, which will unlock the inner sanctum sigil puzzles. Uh, Doing a bunch of stuff with the Black Ridge Grotto, which will eventually unlock the throne room and the satellite dish, which are both pretty crucial for late game stuff. And then one thing that is like kind of a more meta objective, which is going to help you in the long term, is getting at least 8 trophies, which will allow you to unlock everything from the gift shop. And most of the things in the gift shop are kind of just like additional stuff. Like you can get a new game mode, well, from the gift shop, dare mode, which you can do or not. Um, I don't know if you ever played around with that. Did you ever take
I
a look?
I don't remember the dare mode. I remember like some of the little room upgrades, like the lunchbox and
Yeah.
and the swim trunks and
Yep.
all that.
Yeah. Like most of them are just like for particular runs. Um, like the lunchbox, you get some extra steps when you reach a certain point in the house. Um,
The swim trunks
the
adds 2 chests to the pool if you have the pool drained.
Yep. Which are useful. Like, I mean,
Oh
that
yeah,
makes certain rooms a lot better to draft. Um, and then there are a couple that are like, put a cursed box in the shrine. You're
which
like,
is
I don't know what
essential.
that's gonna do. Yeah. Surprisingly, very important. Which we'll get to. Um,
And then the one that you need 8 trophies for is the blue tent, which is important
yes.
for the late game stuff, like the real Grognardy. Well, not Grog, like the
Yeah.
really like the ARG level
Uh-huh.
puzzles.
Yeah. The blue tents is going to put a note in every room basically, that is like leading you towards the late game stuff. And then finally the second main uh like I guess an ending, but kind of more like a checkpoint to me, is reclaiming the throne, which is going to give you ending number 2, which requires you to put together a whole lot of these things.
There's a lot that goes into reclaiming the throne.
Yes. There's so much stuff that is almost like too much for one person to do on their own. You're almost expected to be going online to look certain things up, especially if you don't have certain components. Like if you don't unlock the blue tents, there is no way you're going to make the logical leaps you need in order to reclaim the throne. Um, and then from there's like removing the crates from the tunnel and unlocking the blue doors, which are even more uh bizarre, I would say. Uh and that gives something that people seem to think might be an ending. Did you see this one?
No, I didn't. I didn't look up that one.
Yeah.
It's just a cutscene though, right?
Yeah, it is just a cutscene. It's not rolling credits or anything. But people think this is another like stopping point. This is like the ending where you're never going to be satisfied, and you're just going to keep doing like puzzles endlessly. So you get to the end of the tunnel, and then there is one of those. You have to open a whole bunch of doors, and it takes like all of the special door opening things. Like you have to use the upgraded sledgehammer to open one, and you have to use the little like uh light up the torches thing, and it's like 7 or 8 of those in succession. And at the end of it, you get to a weird blue door, and this blue door requires that you do the reclaiming the throne ending, and then you have to draft the throne room again, and then draft 8 blue rooms after that. And from there, it will open that final door, which is easy enough, but takes some lining stuff up in order to do.
Take some
Um,
runs.
yeah, exactly. Especially because the throne room seems to only be draftable like really late in your house. Uh, so in order to have the space to actually do the thing it asks for, you need to sort of plan around it. And then once you get to the end of that, you have a parlor puzzle. So you know of these if you've been playing the game. The parlor puzzle is 3 boxes, and on the top of the box, it says a particular thing, which can either be a truth or a lie. And one of the boxes, hold on, let me get the actual like puzzle from the end of this.
Okay, yeah, because I have the
Parlor
list here.
puzzle.
It's like the blue chest has the rough draft of the blueprints
Blue
book.
door.
White
Yes.
chest is empty, and black box leads to a cutscene.
Yes. The black box, when you open that up, is basically a cutscene where you read the top of the box. It says something to the effect of. Do you have it in front of you?
No, I don't.
Okay. All right. Hold on. Give me 1 second here. I gotta find it in this wiki.
Is that what leads to the Atelier?
Puzzles. I
No,
don't
that's
know
something
what
else.
this leads to. As far as I can tell, this doesn't actually lead anywhere. Uh, because let's see, tunnel, accessing the tunnel, door 1, door 2. Oh fuck! Just open everything. I gotta hit all of these show spoilers. Okay, here's what it says. The unknown chamber at the end. Behind the blue door is a chamber containing 3 puzzle boxes, like those found in the parlor, and 1 wind-up key. The messages on the box are as follows. Blue box, you have reached the end of your journey. White box, there are 2 true boxes in this room. Black box, there is no end to this journey. So, if you choose the blue box, you get the original handwritten copy of the blueprints. The white box is empty, nothing happens. The black box, there's a cutscene where you open the lid and the box is empty, and he looks around, and he kind of stares at the blue box, and you can look at the actual like wood of the box, and there is a spiral inside of it, which we've seen around the house, but we don't know what the spiral actually indicates. It seems to just be like, do this forever, you know? Just endless puzzles. And in theory, this should lead to a clue, you know? Because you've done a whole lot of work, and there should be something after that. But I don't think the blueprints like original version has any clues in it, and the only thing you're getting from the black box is like maybe this is all fruitless and you are doing these puzzles for no reason, for no payoff, except for like the joy of solving puzzles, you know? It's very strange. I would like someone to explain this to me.
If you enjoy solving puzzles and if solving puzzles gives you joy, might I recommend the Talos Principle and the
Yeah.
Talos Principle 2.
There are a whole bunch of other games you could be playing that have actual endings. Anyway.
And then
And
there's the
then,
Atelier.
yeah, that's the next thing. The Atelier requires you do even more weird stuff. You have to use a key that's inside of the tunnel that you've cleared out in order to get a family core cipher, which is it's like another like make the letters into numbers and then do math with those numbers, and then you get a smaller number and that corresponds to a code word. So you're going to do that. You're going to do that one time, and then you're going to get led to the vault. And inside the vault, you're going to bring the room 8 key, which you've only needed for opening the door in the actual house, but now it's going to be used to open one of the drawers in the vault. And that leads you to another one of these fucking puzzles, which says a whole bunch of like random ass words. And this is the same puzzle. You're going to do the number cipher thing again. And that's going to lead you to finding still water. Still water,
It's
you
water from a
basically,
still.
it's water from a still. You're going to get still water. You're going to store it overnight. You're going to use the. You're going to
The
have to
watering
store it
can, right?
multiple nights. You're going to use the watering can to get the water. You're going to then use the shrine, which only shows up sometimes in the outside chamber thing. And you're going to get the monk, what do you call it? The blessing of the
blessing?
monk. Yes, which can let you put rooms outside. And you're going to use that to get the secret passage. And then you're going to take your watering can full of still water and you're going to dump that over a book in that secret passage. And that's going to unlock the Atelier. And what's the Atelier?
You go into the most interesting looking area of the entire game.
Mm-hmm. It is like
Most visually striking area of the entire game.
Yes. It is a series of hallways that look like they're blueprints. And I don't mean blueprints, I mean blueprints.
Like actual blueprint, like
You
art
see what I did
style.
there? Yeah. And you're
I don't see
wondering.
it. I don't see it.
You don't see it? No?
I don't see it.
Okay. All right. That's fine. So you're wandering around there. You're doing a bunch of the Morajai boxes, and that is giving you, instead of like what you would get when you go through and do the normal house like Morajai puzzles, which mostly just give you like allowance upgrades. These are giving you single words, and those single words are making a little poem. And then that little poem is leading you to a certain way of navigating these halls. And at the end of it, you get to the blueprint of room 46. We didn't even mention the like pictures on the walls.
But that
There-
clue is so fucking pointless that you get from
but
that.
but there's also that in here.
Oh,
You have to
okay.
do another one of those. You do another one of those, and you get what seems to be an anagram, and no one knows what that anagram means yet. So you get to the end of the Atelier, and you get to room 46, but blueprint mode, and you open the Morajai puzzle, and it says one word, and you know what that word is?
Blue.
Blue. And from there, we don't know what happens. There is ostensibly more game.
You have to go to a specific building in Calgary. And
Yes.
then on the sixth brick from the left on the outer east wall is sketch a cipher code that you use to decrypt that.
Yep.
And then someone in Lyon, France, has to go pee in a certain part of the river.
Oh shit.
And there'll be a chemical reaction there that will reveal another clue.
We're gonna make a giant sandwich of the earth by putting two pieces of bread, one on one side and one on the other, and then yeah, it's stuff like that, you know.
And then you have to
So
fax a specific phone number on a specific hour on a specific day during a certain phase of the moon.
hell yeah.
And then someone has to be standing at a payphone in Pittsburgh at this very specific spot, and then they'll get a phone call once that fax goes in. And then they'll receive a code they have to write down.
All right, I'm writing all this in my notebook. Keep going, keep going. All right, all right.
And then that gives you the release date for the
Blueprints 2. Oh shit.
for Blueprints 2. Yes.
Fuck. That would
So
be something.
So these puzzles get increasingly fucky as the game goes
Oh yeah.
on.
You want to start
And
low and work our way up, or
yeah,
all right?
because like the early game. Let's start the early game. You have a lot of one-room
Yes.
puzzles in the early game, right? Very simple logic puzzles. You have like the water balancing stuff. You have you get to play around with the pipes.
Yep.
And that's fun. You get to break walls.
Everyone loves playing around with pipes. Everyone loves balancing water.
Yeah, I know. We have to make ZP play just to see what he says when he gets to the pumper. You know,
I mean,
you solve the dartboard puzzle. Every run, you solve the dartboard puzzle, and you solve the parlor logic puzzle. Every run, you do that. You do that every run. That's an order.
every single run, because eventually you'll get a trophy for it.
And you have to have the trophies for the late game.
Yeah.
So
and don't upgrade the parlor, and don't upgrade the billboard room.
Oh wait!
Right?
You shouldn't upgrade the
The dart puzzle room, the billiard room, rather.
Oh no! I upgraded that.
I also upgraded that. I made
Did
it
I-
super easy.
Did I soft lock the game?
Not necessarily. I mean, there are
Do I not get
ways
the
you
trophy
can get.
now?
I think I haven't proved this because hold on one second. I did the thing that makes the dartboard puzzle the room that it's in into the speakeasy, which
Yep.
makes it so you have to do very simple math. And I don't know if that prevents you from eventually getting the like
The trophy for doing
final
40 of those.
trophy for doing 40 of them,
Oh no.
because I got to the point where they changed what uh like you're doing the billiard
Billiards.
room puzzle.
Like the
Yes.
dartboard puzzle.
Yeah, the dartboard puzzle is fairly straightforward in the early stages of the game. And then at one point, it decides to throw you a curveball. And I did not understand what the curveball was doing, which was it changes the order that
Oh yeah, because
the
it's by
things appear
color.
in.
Like because
Right,
like the color is the order of operations,
right.
and then the
It's
placement
it's the
is yeah
yeah. The color is uh what
what you're
thing you're
doing,
doing,
and then the
and
placement is the
then
order of operations.
right. And
Yeah.
so at some point after like doing 20 of these things, it was like, all right, now I'm going to change it where uh the order of operations is different from the actual anyway. So I got confused. And I was like, it's just going to keep getting harder from here. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to make it into the speakeasy, and I'm not going to worry about having to solve it. I'm just going to get the shit out of it every time I do it. But I think that prevents you from getting the
Oh,
achievement.
no.
But
But those
here's the
again,
thing.
those trophies are
There's a
necessary.
here's the thing. You can, if you really wanted to, there is a way to transfer trophies from one game file to another, which is how you get the trophy for things like do it in 1 hour, like get to room 46 in 1 hour. And what's the other one?
In one day.
Uh,
The one day,
do it
one
in
hour
1 day.
run. Yeah.
Yes. Yep. Which is a nightmare, which I've been trying to do, and it's too
That
hard,
sounds
I
bad.
think. Yeah. It's you think you can do it. You'll have a lot of the information that you need in order to like
But you
do
need the
things really
foundation
fast,
or the
but you
workshop
need
at
stuff
least.
like you need the foundation, you know, you need things to align really well. And on day one, where you only have 50 steps, you don't have like extra gems from the mine or whatever. It's hard to do.
That's a
Um,
nightmare.
yeah. But if you can do it, you can transfer it into your main file, and then that'll get you an extra trophy.
Mm,
Um, and if you,
or you can hack it.
yeah, or you can hack it. And if you wanted to, you could also go and do like the what do you call it, 40 times the parlor game.
The logic
And
puzzle there.
then
Yeah.
right. I also upgraded the parlor game to the funeral parlor, which makes the consequences of failing that losing a whole bunch of steps. And so I was like, I don't want to do I don't want to do this most of the time. And so I fell behind on that one too.
And
So
also
I
like
haven't
it's not a
done
fun puzzle
that.
anyway.
Yeah. A lot of the time it's like, here's the thing. You see signs like in the workshop there is a thing that says the true box is not always the where the treasure is. So you got to like sometimes it's like no indication of where the actual gems are going to be. It's just like
Oh
you
well, I
could do
feel
all the logic and figure it all out, and maybe you don't find the treasure.
well
So,
I feel special for only missing it like twice in like 30 runs.
goddamn. See, I don't know. I I maybe just
I play
like
puzzle games.
was
What do you want
I
from me?
was over it. hmm I think that I just like got to a point where it's like I could sit here and think about it for like 10 minutes, but I just kind of want to go the least uh path of least resistance, and most of the time There's no downside to it. I just don't find the gems. But
Yeah.
once I've
So
upgraded to the funeral parlor, I'm gonna take a 30-step hit from
so you do not do
failing
that
to
puzzle
find it.
anymore.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm like, it's not worth it.
So
Anyway,
there's like simple puzzles like that. You can hook the generator room up to the laboratory or the pump room, do stuff. You can do some light upgrading, some light unlocking of new rooms. Uh, you unlock the grounds or around the house. You find the stuff for that. So
Yep.
it's all pretty simple. The puzzles themselves are pretty simple, easy to figure out. You can brute force some of them.
Yep.
You can brute force yourself. You can brute force your way into the orchard if you really want to.
Right.
Uh, so the puzzles aren't
Which,
hard, but the restrictive part is the run-based nature, the
yeah.
drafting.
Mhm.
Getting screwed on drafts. You don't have you have like these board game resource tokens with like the keys and the money and the gems and the steps and all that horse shit.
Yep. It's
And
very Euro game kind of feeling, where it's like, oh, if I could do all this, but I don't have a certain number of gems, and I need that if I want to do blah blah blah.
yeah,
Um,
so it's like you get 5 layers in, then run over. Like you spend
mhm.
20 minutes on a run, and then just the resources don't pan out,
Yep.
and you get nothing. Or
There
like
is
even
nothing more heartbreaking than having like a run that is going pretty okay, and then you get to a point where you only have one path forward, but you don't have the keys. And so you just like go to a door, locked. Go to the other door, locked. I guess the run's done.
yeah, so there's all this like artificial like drafting game or RNG with drafting rooms. There's all these like board game ass like resource management you do, and there's RNG on that as well. And even when you figure out the puzzles, even when you get what you need to do, like if you don't get one of the 3 rooms that unlocks an antechamber door, you go fuck yourself. And
Yep.
and that's not fun. That's that's not satisfying.
Yeah.
You don't
It
get anything from that as a player other than fucking yourself.
mhm. It takes a level of patience with the mechanics that uh a does not suit our format very well. Uh because like we said in the other podcast, uh I laid out like I think Gino and Pete need to see Room 46 in order to talk about the game. Uh, but we only have 2 weeks to do it. And this is a game that wants you to like really sit and think about what it's doing. And it it if you have a bad run, it wants you to do it again.
And
uh,
you're going to go through the den again, check like the 2 spots where items can spawn, and then
right.
open the doors, move on. You're going to go into the bedroom again. You're going to check the
Mm,
2 spots where items can spawn, and then
Yep.
leave.
Yep.
Like again and again and again and again and again.
It is it is ungenerous in these respects. Uh, it added on some like it keeps the safes open that you unlock.
Which
So
that's nice.
yeah, like
And but
things
those
like that.
safes. Well, if you want to talk
Oh
about
yeah.
those safes,
Hmm.
so that brings
Let's
us
talk
to
about
like
the
kind
safes.
of the mid game style puzzles because these early game puzzles they're not hard. It's just getting to them is a hassle. But the
Yeah,
puzzles themselves are like baby's
it's
first mist kind of
right.
thing,
It's
like
it's
easy
very
adventure game
dependent.
puzzles.
Mhm. It's mainly dependent on the circuit breaker, which is like your introduction to like sometimes things in this house are going to affect other rooms. So circuit breaker, you're going to use for things like
It's the
uh,
garage, the dark room,
right.
the security doors. Which I mean, like you just get into the habit of okay, draw the circuit box, turn off the security doors, draw the security room, set the security
Mhm.
to maximum, and
Yep.
it set offline to open.
Yep.
Like
You just go
you
click, click,
you do that in
click,
your sleep.
flip all the switches in the security room or the
The
circuit
breaker room,
breaker,
yeah.
and then do the stuff in the security room.
Yeah,
Uh,
until you draft the dark room, and then you have to walk your happy ass back to the circuit
right.
breaker, wherever that is, to reflip that, switch,
Mm.
or else you get the
That's
penalty. Yeah.
that drives me crazy. The dark room, um, because every time I'm like, all right, it's the dark room, the light's gonna burn out, and then I gotta go all the way back over here, and maybe I've drafted the dark room, but I didn't draft the circuit breaker
So just go fuck
because
yourself.
I guess I'll just try and draft from this room, and I won't get the item that's in here. It's just a bunch of
Like
it's just a bunch of busy work.
this has all of the RNG pseudo gambling elements for gotcha, but without the waifus. If there were waifus, this would all be
Ah.
worth it.
Could you imagine if they were like, all right, we heard your complaints. Blueprints now has waifus in every room, just hanging out.
Just do
Kind
VTuber
of,
collabs. Yeah,
yeah, just some VTubers in there. I I think
that'd be
I have
much
a mod.
improved.
I'm gonna try and mod this in really quick.
Okay, just put that on Nexus mods. But so it's a really RNG heavy, but the puzzles aren't hard. Like you
Yep.
don't get that much of like the story in the early game, so it's
Mhm.
like, what's even going on here? You know,
Yeah.
there's mystery, and the mystery brings you forward. But then you hit credits. It's like, oh,
Mhm.
okay, your mom's not dead. She just fucked off somewhere,
She's
and
in hiding and nothing.
and keep playing.
Yeah, keep
Uh,
going. Play to find out what happens, and then you keep playing, and then you're like, I don't know what to do from here.
So then you get to like the next layer of puzzles, which are all just a bunch of fucking ciphers.
Yeah.
It's all
So
it's ciphers all the way down this piece of something. So then we get to the paintings, which you're like the drawings, not paintings because there's no coloring. I guess they're sketches, drawings, whatever.
sketches. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's two in each room. You notice them in the early game. You're like, there's
Hmm.
probably something with these drawings.
Yep.
But you're like, I have no idea what's going on here. So you move on back to like smashing your face to unlocking the secret garden
Or
or whatever.
or you think that, huh, there are pictures. I see the picture is on the wall of the study. I'm going to look at that, and then I'm going to mark it down in my notebook as associated with the study. And every time I draw the study, it's going to be those pictures, so I don't have to mark it down. And then come to find out, it is not based on the room that you're in, is based on the like
The
where
grid
you are on the
position,
grid. So that drives people insane.
right? And then deciphering them,
Yep.
it's very easy to overthink it. It's actually a very simple cipher.
Yes. Hmm.
All for English speakers. Uh, I guess caveat there. But you will overthink it, and you'll get stuck overthinking it. But if you just caveman brain this thing, or I guess not cave, if you dumb guy think about it, they're like, oh okay, yeah, you just do this. They're just it just each room is a letter. So then you
Right.
go to each square across however many runs and fill in a letter, and
Hmm.
for each square, then that spells out a clue. But that
Yep.
clue is just tells you how to open the safes.
Yes.
And
Uh,
and if you have played adventure games before and you find a safe, you're going to look around for it for any kind of 4-digit number safe code in the room it's
mhm.
in, and all the rooms they're in have some kind of like date, written out or pointed out or like shown somewhere. And it doesn't take a rocket surgeon to convert dates to a 4-digit number.
Hmm.
That clue you get from all of that legwork with the drawings is superfluous
Yes.
for
Uh,
any competent player.
yeah. You will do a significant amount of legwork for a lot of these puzzles, and you will find that you've already found what it's leading you to. The one that I go to is there's like musical sheets all over the place.
Oh, those fucking
Um,
things.
yeah. Uh, they're in like 5 different rooms or something, or
Yeah, like
like
there's like 3 in the music room, and then 2
yeah.
in the ballroom, and then like 3 in like 3 other rooms.
Yeah, there's like one in the workshop.
There's one in
And
the
you're
greenhouse, I think. There's one in one of the bedrooms.
yes, yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, you're getting all of these music sheets from across the house, and then it leads you to it says, hold on. First words on the sheets are true message. So you're like, all right, fuck. So then you read the first words, final among the white trees under 2 stones. And I'm like, this is just leading me to that there's a blueprint out in the trees that I was just wandering around outside, and I was like, my shovel lit up while I was looking at these rocks, so I dug it up already. I dug it up on like day 10 or something, and I
And
only put these together on like day 50, or I don't know what.
so one of the funny things about for me with those music sheets is I found 4 of them. I found like the greenhouse, music room
Mhm.
sheets,
Yep.
and I was able to decipher the first part of that of looking at the first words just from having half the sheets because
Hmm.
it's not hard.
Yeah.
And then looking at the first letters, I was able to like suss out
Right.
from that.
If
It's like these aren't hard ciphers. There's just
yeah,
a lot of legwork involved.
yeah, it's artificial like inflation of game time, because if you had all of these music sheets in one place, you would just go, all right, there's a bolded word on here, I'm going to read those bolded words, and then you get that, and you look at first words on the sheets are the message, and you go, okay, first words, final among the white trees under 2 stones. Then you're like, okay, I'm going to go and look at the trees, and then you just find what it's leading you towards. Or you're just out there. You're
You just
like,
stumble on it.
there's just stuff out in the world because there's a whole outside. So I
There's
might
a
as
whole
well be
outside,
looking at stuff.
and
I don't know.
and the game trains you to poke around in every
Right.
cranny, and you don't get that many step penalties walking around outside. So you might as
Yep.
well just spend a run just poking at everything outside. Which
Mhm.
after you reach room 46, you get the new clue, which you can draft from the
Oh
library.
yeah.
It takes a couple runs to get that because you have to order it, then it has to arrive. And
Right.
then you need the magnifying glass and do all this stuff. And they just point you to the microchips that you
Yeah.
could just find on your own.
Yeah. Do
You
you
could
want to
just
talk about
find
an
those.
you want to talk about a new clue?
Oh,
Because
see,
I have some thoughts.
here's the thing. I bypassed that motherfucker.
Oh yeah. Did you just find the
Yeah,
microchips?
I just found the
Wow.
microchips. I just activated the sundial. Fuck
Yeah.
that book.
Yep. Uh, here's the thing with a new clue. A new clue is leading you towards what you need to unlock the satellite dish.
And
Which
also the throne
is
room.
yeah, which is like the grotto, the throne room. Uh, you need to do all this stuff. But maybe you find a message that says lower the SD when if the coast is clear, and you're like, SD, that's probably sundial, and so you go over to the sundial, and when you get to the sundial, you're looking at the sundial trying to figure out what it's leading you towards, and then your little uh
And if you
like
have the Bernie thing,
Right.
The burning glass, then you just activate it.
Yeah, you see, oh, the burning glass shows up. I'm gonna hit that, and then you hit that, and hit that, and then it opens, and you're like, oh, I didn't need any of that new clue bullshit. But in order to actually get the clue, you have to do like, oh man, this is a whole bunch
You
of
have to
shit.
have magnifying glass. You have to write down. You have to like scour that book, write down a bunch of things, do some ciphers. There's a lot of ciphers
You have to
in the
do
middle
all
game.
that. You have to get the like there's a there's a map in the underground hideout that your mom was staying in, which has
Oh, that's
like
the reservoir. Which is its
yeah,
own thing entirely.
yep, we'll get to that. We're working our way backwards. There's a did you ever find the security footage?
Security footage. I don't think I did.
Okay, so in the the safe house, there is a grid of squares on like a just a sheet of paper, and you're like, this looks kind of familiar. And one of them in the corner has like an S written in it, and you're like, I think I've seen these squares before. So you go to the security room and you look at the cameras that are like all laid out on the screens in front of
Oh.
you, and then you get a security code Swan Song HSS, which is what you enter into the computer, and then you can access the security footage for the house. And that in one of those security things, your mom is holding up a sheet of paper that has a weird shape on it. You're like, that looks familiar. I've seen that shape kind of before. And then you take that down to the safe house. And in the safe house, there is a map of the subway. And then you're like, okay, she wanted this path drawn out. And so you make that whole path, and then you get a series of numbers because those go through the path goes through certain like stops on the train line.
And they're all numbered.
And they're all numbered, and that gets you 8, 7, 3, 10, 1, 13. And you're like, okay, what do I do with that? And in a new clue, there is a one string of letters that is X, Y, Z, A, B, C. X is associated with 8, Y is 7, Z is 3, etc., etc. And in that new clue, there is a little grid that says covers red, green, violet, blue, page A, C, B, Z, word X, A, Y, X. And so from that, doing all that shit, you get something about scalding the clock. And I'm like, I fucking did that 40 runs ago. And that's everything that's in a new clue.
Yeah. So doing new clue lets you find the microchips used to
Yes.
open the big door in the mainframe room in the grotto. You find the throne room, which you need to reclaim the throne because the throne's in the throne room.
Yep.
And also there's an extra lever behind the throne in the throne room that opens the room 46 door.
Which is
That's
very useful.
That's very useful. And it also lets you activate the satellite dish, which lets you download stuff to the mainframe. Most importantly, an experiment outcome for the laboratory that removes boxes from the tunnel.
Yes. Which you're gonna have to
And
do like 30 times.
there's like 30 of them.
Yep.
So buckle up. And then there's the chessboard, which are mostly just buffs, unless you do the cast like the whole cipher with that, and you do the chess move, and you unlock the thing, and do like the 12 other things. Get the Ares key,
Yep.
which is necessary to get the scepter from the treasure trove, which you also have to find.
You have to find and you have to put outside.
Find and then put outside, which is its own. I mean, it's the monk process from before. And then use that to get the scepter. But so you need the scepter, the crown, and a cursed
It's a
sculpture,
cursed. It's a effigy, which
a
is
cursed
from the
effigy.
cursed box that you can put in the shrine. Which how do you get the clue that you need that in order to reclaim the throne?
I don't. I mean, you read that book, and the book's gnarly.
Right. The book is wild, but I don't remember it ever saying this is like.
They buried the effigy with the child, which means the effigy's underground somewhere. It's and also
Yeah,
it was in a box, so and you can buy a cursed box. Like, oh, maybe this cursed box is the cursed effigy box.
yeah. But I don't
But
see
then
how
why
you
do you
make the
need that?
logical leap to bring it to the throne room.
Yeah,
I
like
only learned that because I went in the throne room with the I had the scepter, I had the crown. I was like, it didn't work. Why didn't it work? Then I go online and it's like you need the cursed effigy. I'm like, why would I ever think to even touch that thing for one? I don't know.
but yeah,
Maybe
so like
it's probably a blue tent thing and I didn't have blue tent at the time.
but so those three items you need to unlock them. You know, like the crown is just in room 46, so you have to get back to room 46. You have to do all that hullabaloo for the scepter. You know, the Ares key, moving the room. Uh, the cipher for the Ares key. I mean, I just looking it up makes me mad. That's
So
so much stupid ass legwork you have to do.
the yeah, the Aries key cipher. I have it in my little notebook because I made a little notebook because I'm a good student.
Because the game tells you to do keep a
Yeah.
notebook. Which I, you know what? We'll do this. I'll go on a rant later.
Okay. You want to talk about the notebook? You want to talk about the cipher?
Okay, just so very early in the game, like your first run, even you'll encounter a tutorial that says make sure you keep a journal to write down all the
Hmm.
clues you find. Which there, back in the old days of PC adventure and RPG gaming, before most of you were born, assuming things about this
Hmm.
audience that are probably
Hmm.
incorrect, you would need to take notes. You need to draw maps, right? Like you play Myst, you're taking notes while playing Myst. You have to. Myst doesn't tell you to do that. Like
Hmm.
you see some complicated stuff, and you're like, I'm not going to remember that. Let me write that down because it's like 1992 or 1993. I keep getting mixed up.
Hmm.
So
Um,
that's part of the genre, and you don't
right.
tell players that. You let players approach that themselves. Especially nowadays, when you just take pictures or screenshots, you know, and organize it that way. But to go, make sure you keep a journal, get a nice little leather bound journal. You know, be decorative. You can draw things in it. You know, it's like you're going on an adventure with your journal. It's like
Yeah.
fuck you, game.
You don't have to
Like,
tell me to do that. I
I
would
do
do
what I
that,
want.
but but now you've told me to do it, and I'm going to not do it out of spite.
Like I will do that if it's necessary. You don't
Right.
tell. Anyway, continue.
Hmm. So the castle cipher. Uh, down underneath the it's even
Oh, the
under.
elevator. Oh, the
Yep.
elevator. You have
Yep.
to turn on the elevator, which is its own thing. It's not hard. It's just
Yeah.
you
It
have to
just
find the damn things.
takes it just takes several runs because you need a two things that exist in the same place at different times. You need the orchard, the schoolhouse, the hovel, and the mine. The schoolhouse and the hovel, they have
They're
uh
outer rooms.
their outer rooms, so they can only be one at a time. Um, and in those rooms, you can find a like
It's like a little
uh
valve. Just turn a
yeah,
valve.
you turn a valve, but you got to do that 4 times, and then that'll get you the elevator, and then that leads you down underground. Uh, and in that like tunnel that you're in, you can get to a little like
It's pretty
looks
big.
like
It's a
a
big room. The
yeah,
chessboard.
it's a big room. There's like a chessboard in the middle of it. And on the outside of the room, I don't think it's there until you solve the puzzle with the chessboard. There are like big chess pieces. Um, and there is a wall that has a crack in it. And because you you are an adventure game player, you know that if there is a crack in a wall, you're gonna have to break that fucking wall down. And you do
with the
that.
upgraded sledgehammer.
Yes. You get your upgraded sledgehammer, you go down there, you break that wall down, you get a cipher that just says castle and then has a bunch of blank spaces. Uh
Oh,
from
one note
yes.
about the
Yeah.
sledgehammer. So we say like you get these items; these are all crafted items from stuff you find in
Yes.
the
You have to
house.
make it.
So the burning glass, you use like a metal detector and a magnifying glass. Those are pretty common items. Not that hard to do.
Mhm.
The power sledgehammer though requires a sledgehammer, a shovel, both pretty common, and a battery. For me, the battery only spawned once every like 5 to 10 runs.
Yeah. The battery is weirdly rare. Usually it's showing up in the workshop, I think.
Yeah.
Uh I don't know if there are like loot tables in this game, like certain items can
Ugh.
only appear in certain spots. Um, but like if you
I
need
mean,
the
there's drafting conditions on most cards, so I wouldn't put
yep,
it past the guy.
right.
But yeah, so basically, like you're seeing all these things that you can either set on fire or break with a hammer. You're noting them down, and then the one run when the damn battery spawns, and you pray to your Lord, baby Jesus, that you have enough steps to go everywhere, and you
Yep.
go around just breaking walls until you run out of steps.
Yeah.
And one of those it leads to the castle cipher.
Yes. And then if you are paying attention and you're looking at like all the stuff there is to look at, if you are approaching things from really weird angles, such as in order to get the part of the cipher that is in the secret passage, you have to come at it from the wrong way when the secret passage is closed. So you you eventually get from like I don't know 6 to 8 rooms the following CIX add 6 Tor lore et. And if those last couple of things don't make any sense, that is because you haven't learned your Rajan. Have you gone to school?
Have you drafted the outdoor classroom and then all 8 levels of classrooms in the house in order to go to school?
Yeah, you have to go to the outside. You have to draft the schoolhouse. That will give you 8 classrooms uh in your draft pool, and then on the 8th classroom, you get like a Rajan, like a dictionary basically. And if you go and you learn what all these things mean, lore means toward, right? I don't know.
Something like
Uh,
that. But,
yeah,
but, but, but-
Tor
but-
is
yeah.
rotate backwards, so you're gonna have to rotate something backwards. You have to do all this, and also we forgot about the actual castling part of the castle cipher, which is you have to do a castle maneuver on the chessboard in the middle of the room. Which, okay, I'm sure you could logically get to that conclusion because of the fact that there are chess pieces. But in order to do that, you have to do it at least once in order to get the uh, king piece, and then you have to do it again, and then switch it to the rook piece, and then that will open a secret passage. And you go into that secret passage, and at the bottom of that, there are a bunch of Moragi puzzles, and that all tells you you have to do a bunch of uh like arranging of your items so that you don't have any inventory, and you have to be down there at a certain time. Yeah, the time matters in this game. You learned that from doing the clock tower, right?
I actually never unlocked the clock tower because you have to get that from the draft. Was it the drafting room?
Oh my god. Yeah, you
Yeah.
get that from the drafting room, and uh, there's a whole thing in the clock tower that I could tell you about.
I mean, the clock
But
tower is really important because like a sanctum key is in there as well, right?
yeah, there is a sanctum key. In order to get that sanctum key, you have to do you have to go up there, you have to stand in there until it's 1:30, which is the sacred hour, and then that opens on the bottom floor a door that leads to a series of clocks all around. And that has a logic puzzle where you have to enter a certain time on every clock in there. And it's fairly complicated because there's 8 clocks and you have to like logic out a exact time for each one. And then if you do all that right, you get a sanctum key.
Oh, also as a programming note, my power went out, so I'm now on my
Oh,
phone.
oh shit. Well,
I mean, I'm on my phone, and you can hear me.
yeah, I did notice your change in audio, but I'm sorry that happened.
Yeah, that was weird.
Yeah. You good to keep going?
Yeah.
Okay. So, where the heck were we? All
So the
right.
Ares key. So you castle.
Yes.
You
You go down into
get
the
the
thing,
more
you do a
jive
bunch of more
puzzles.
jive puzzles. Go ahead.
They tell you about the sacred hour,
Hmm.
not the golden hour, but the sacred hour.
Which is
Or of
1:30 for some reason.
course,
Yep. And then you go down there with no items and no keys or a gold or anything.
which if you've had
And,
allowance, so and like the gem from the
yes.
mine, that's going to be a pain.
Yeah. You have to spend all of your everything without picking anything up. And then you go down there at 1:30 and a clock comes out of the ground and you have to then use the cipher that you've gained. So Roman numerals are important here. And then you get the Ares key from doing that whole thing. And if you're me, you go, what the fuck do I do with this?
But you don't have to solve that again. The Ares key will just spawn there every run after that, right?
Which, thank God, you don't have to do the whole thing again. You do have to enter the actual like code, like the cipher thing that you do uh,
Oh,
with
you
the
have to
clock.
do the clock every time.
You have to do the clock every time. But if you can get it out to the treasure trove, which you've of course drafted outside, you will then get the scepter.
And the
And all
scepter,
of
you
this,
will also can also leave your inventory unless you do certain things.
right? Yes, you can keep the scepter in your inventory if you end the day uh,
Color
um,
of room.
in the color of room that is associated with the scepter. So if you're following the logic, you get the scepter, you keep it in your inventory for as long as you need in order to get to room 46, get the crown, also get the cursed effigy
Effigy,
thing.
which we'll need to have stored in the coat check because it also requires an outer room.
Yes. And then you bring that all to the throne room and you unlock the second ending, which is reclaiming the throne, and you become the blueprints. And it's if you're a normal person, you stop here.
No, if you're normal, you stop at
Yeah,
credits.
yeah. If you're a normal person, you have never even considered that there is a throne room because the credits rolled after room 46, and you don't have to do anything after the credits.
Yeah, it's just like it's extra stuff for
Hmm.
if you really like playing the game. And so but then all the first layer of extra stuff, it's all just dumb ciphers and
Yep.
pointless busy work
Yep.
to get that point, and then after that you hit the late game, which is when the ARG stuff starts happening,
Yeah.
like you talked about with
So
the Atelier puzzle and the blue doors.
yes. So
And
and
none of this even talks about the sanctum keys because there's the 8
right.
doors next to
I was
the
about to say
room for 6 lever.
we didn't even cover all that. If you're doing all of what you're being led to do, you're getting sanctum keys. There's spread out all around the house, and you have to do various little things, such as get one from the bottom of the reservoir. Which box is it in? Because there's like 30 boxes down there.
Oh, that puzzle. So if you drain the reservoir, which you can do if you spawn the pump room next to the generator,
Mhm.
which good luck. Uh, and then if you can balance it to drain the reservoir, and you have the ability to get down to the basement from there, you then find like 20 something 30 boxes down there, and they all have like the parlor room logic puzzle stuff, but instead of 3 boxes, it's like 20 or 30, and
Mhm.
each require a key.
Yep.
But they say permanently open, right? When you
Yes.
open them. Yeah.
Yep.
So basically, you're doing a bunch of runs where I guess you draft a lot, you save up money, draft a locksmith, buy a bunch of keys, run down there, and mess with this 30 step, like
Here-
instead of the one guard always lies, one guard always tells the truth. It's now 30 guards,
Yeah.
which is
It's
just
30.
annoying.
It's like 30 notes in boxes, and each box needs a key. You cannot lockpick it. Uh, Here's my cheat code for it. Uh, in the You've drafted the tomb, obviously, because you gotta do that at some point, I'm sure. Uh, you go down to the tomb. You do a bunch of stuff with the angel statues because they are in a order in the chapel. You put in the code, it unlocks a secret passage. You go down further, and there is the eighth angel, which is the angel of death, Draxus. And in order to get out of the tomb, you pull his like uh scythe down, and when you pull it down, there is a map piece that is on the uh dais that he's in front of,
Yeah.
and it points directly at where the sanctum key is.
Oh no shit.
Yeah. So I was like, I'm just gonna try there first. And I went over and I opened it up and I found the sanctum key. And I was like, all right, I guess that's it. And I eventually had some runs where I just had a bunch of keys. And I was like, I'm just gonna open these and see what is inside of them.
There is an
And it
allowance token in one of them.
yeah, there are allowance tokens somewhere in there, but it is ultimately just leading you to finding this one key.
Yeah, so you open the sanctum doors. They lead to these sigil puzzles. I guess there's a book somewhere that's like, hey, here's all the sigils for the different
Yeah.
countries in this world.
So there is a book that tells you how to decipher, like, this means this place is windy, and this is what its flag color is. And that translates into the like circular sigil things that you are looking at in the sanctums. So in order to actually open the way, you have to look at books and use the magnifying glass on like stamps and just a whole bunch of like one of the clues I found for this puzzle was actually in the description of a room. Like in the like details of certain rooms, I was like, maybe something is in here that is important. And I think it was like the sauna or something. And it's
Oh
like
right,
it
yeah.
in this place's cold climate, saunas are very good to have. And so everyone has a sauna. And I'm like, so I need to make this thing's like this thing's coat of arms or whatever have the cold symbol. And
And
I
there's like 3
unlocked
layers to each of
all,
these sigils.
yeah, I unlocked all of those fucking sigils, and I did that shit because I'm a good student, and ultimately that leads to
Some postcards
postcards.
from your grandfather, right?
Yes, or your
Herbert's brother.
uncle.
Wait, is it
Is it?
Herbert or Herbert's brother?
Might be his brother. I don't know.
Mm.
Anyway,
Yeah.
he went on a trip. He went on a big old trip, and he went to 8 realms in 8 months, which is in room 46.
And
You have
there's a map
to,
of the world in room 46 with
yeah,
pins numbered 1 through 8.
yep. And you do that whole logic puzzle, and you get a will, which most of it is bullshit. That doesn't matter. But there is one aspect that is important, which is an alternate angel order. And then you go down to the tomb, and then you do the alternate angel order, which you know because, I don't know, there are like statues around, and they're like, you can pick up the
You've
names of the angels from
you've
places.
probably solved the tomb angel puzzle by that point,
Right.
just as part of playing the game.
Yep. But in order to actually know which angel is which, you need more information. That's all this game is like layers and layers of finding more information. And once you have all that information, you would solve this like in a minute. But it takes hours in order to find all of it. So this is what leads you to the draft of the Red Prince and a new clue. And in my notes, I have written here why. I don't know. I
Because the
literally,
draft of the Red Prince is just lore stuff, isn't
yeah,
it?
yeah, it's just lore things. And I'm like, I've already done all of this. You know that I did all the sanctum things because I have the clue to get the will out of the thing. So what am I supposed to do with this information? And I'm like, I have no idea what I did for the last 10 hours or whatever of my life. And it's just shit like that.
And then there's the red letters which you get from opening all the different
Yeah.
safes. And there's that's where the important story stuff is.
Hmm.
That where you're sussing out like what happened with your mom and your great uncle, and that's
Yeah.
where like the blackmail storyline comes in.
Yeah.
And there's supposed to be 8, but 1 is missing because the ex gardener stole one. I think.
Right. Maybe. I don't know. I don't think we know what happened to that.
Yeah, no one's found the 8th letter.
Yeah.
Even though there's supposed to be 8, but there's only 7 in the game.
Yep.
And like there's some clues you get from the fortune teller in the
Yes.
game
The
room.
rumpus room.
Yeah, and I mean like those are actually really like well done cutscenes.
Oh yeah.
If you're playing it the way you're supposed to with headphones for for the optimal experience. Like
Mm-hmm.
some good sound design in those, like some very like affecting, like cutscenes that like very moody.
It
Have
is.
important clues there.
I aside from your uncle's like narration at the beginning, it is the only time you actually hear someone speak, which is very surprising when you first do it, because it's like a deep voice, like it's
It's
very,
unsettling,
yeah, yeah.
like in the moment.
And
And that's
what
neat.
you're, hmm what's that?
I was saying, and that's neat. And that's
Yeah,
how. And that guy just tells you that you're missing a red letter, and you're
yeah,
not going to find it, which
yep.
means it's somewhere in the game.
Which means we'll find it eventually. Some intrepid safecracker out there is like, actually, if you draft this room outside and then do all this bullshit, you'll get a new safe. I'm like, okay, cool. But yeah. I don't know what else we got here.
I mean, we talked about the ARG stuff with the Atelier, the Stillwater,
Yep.
the Blue Doors.
Mhm.
That's where you get into like the real galaxy brain. I mean,
Yeah.
puzzle. Are those puzzles or is it? I mean, I
It's
guess they are puzzles, but not in like a puzzle game or adventure game kind of puzzle way.
right. Yeah.
At that point, it's just trying to be Fez,
Hmm.
kind of.
You
And
know,
then it's just that's it, I
that's it.
guess.
And then we just like fade off into nothingness because uh it needs more brain power than the collective internet has produced.
And
Like,
that's just entirely due to obscurity.
yeah. Yeah.
But I
No
mean, it's
one
ARGs.
knows about
Like that's
this.
the point of ARGs, to be obscure.
Right. So after being I would say kind of defensive on the main pod, uh I went and I finished, like, when I started right before we did the main pod, I had almost done the Reclaiming of the Throne ending, but I had like not made the scepter the right color or some shit. And so I was like, okay, I'm just gonna do it right after we record. And then I did it right after we recorded. And then I did all this other stuff with the tunnel and the atelier. And I'm like, okay, now I've seen all the game has to offer currently. I think I'm over it.
Over
I'm here
100 hours into the game, and you're
over
over it.
100 hours into the game, and I'm like, all right, until someone comes to me and is like, oh, they solved it. The game has an ending now. I'm like, I've made my peace with it, I think. Um, which,
This is like the adventure game version of getting over it.
yeah, yeah. I when I said I had picked this game for the podcast, I told my wife, and they were like, "You just really want Gino to have another getting over it episode." And I was like, "You know what? I don't know if that's entirely true." And then after playing it for this long, I think that's what happened.
Yeah, you were the player who climbed to the top of the mountain when you weren't supposed to.
Yeah. Yep. Um, so now we're here. Uh, we've talked about this game for about 2 hours. I think we've covered basically everything we wanted to talk about. Is there anything else you want to point out?
I mean, laying out the puzzles, the progression. Also, I want the dear listener to keep in mind that
Mhm.
this takes so long. Like each
Yeah.
run takes a decent chunk of time,
Here's the
and
thing
you do
with
so many runs, and
yeah,
you have so little to show per run, and you're balancing all these board game resources,
yeah.
and you're seeing the same rooms, solving the same puzzles over and over again, to the point where you feel like in that first Voyager Q episode, QLS, the Q that wants to YouTube redacted himself. And he takes everyone to the Q continuum to show them how boring it is and how tedious and how they've all walked down the road, they've all pet the dog, they've all played the pinball game. There's nothing left to do in this universe.
Mhm.
It's like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Um, and if you were to like just have perfect information, if you didn't need to go to all the trouble to unlock basically the final clue to solving most of these puzzles by getting like blue tents, um, you'll be able to do this much faster. And if you
Well,
weren't,
so
well, yes,
like that's the thing. If it wasn't for the run-based nature, you could
exactly.
have these puzzles in a house where the rooms are where they are and aren't where they aren't.
Mhm.
and it would be a decent first-person narrative adventure puzzle game.
Right.
If you had a run-based, drawing-based thing with like the board game resource management, and you didn't throw all these puzzles in there, and you were like, I don't know, drafting these rooms on a train full of monsters or whatever, like you could do something decent with that.
Mhm.
Doing both at the same time leads to a Bennett Foddy game. Like it's
Leads to disaster. It leads to us yelling at each other for an hour in the main pod. Um, I don't know if you listened to that episode, but it got
got
Gino
heated. That's
had
good.
Gino had some thoughts. Got a little
He's right.
heated.
He's
He's
right. I
at,
didn't listen, but he's right.
uh-huh. After getting to the point, I'm going to have to give him the credit that is due. Uh, he's pretty right with this one. Um, what I will say is I am very interested to check out Botany Manor, which sounds like this game with not the drafting mechanics or the
Yeah,
puzzle, the like board game aspect.
yeah, and I mean, all my criticisms of Botany Manor are in the themes of the story, and
Mhm.
it's just me being like a shithead. But
Okay.
no, solid game.
Okay. Um, yeah. So that's where we ended up with blueprints. Maybe someday, uh, some some brilliant person will be like, I've solved the Atelier cipher, and now we're gonna do a whole bunch of other shit, and then we'll have another episode on it. Maybe. Who knows? It could be 50 more hours of gameplay. I have no way of knowing. But until then, I think we're closing the book on it. I think we're locking this mansion door and walking away into the sunset.
Yes, the Finn Ares secret police have found out about this
Oh
fourth
fuck.
grade kid who just crowned himself king by himself inside this weird mansion. Uh, and they've come and they've locked down the entire place.
Oh damn. You hate to see it. But Blueprints 2 will address our escape from jail. Yeah. Any final thoughts before
Ho-
we wrap this up?
Hopefully next year there's a better first-person puzzle game.
We're looking forward to the one puzzle game per year uh, that is next
Yes,
year's.
yes.
Thank you for
Whatever game
joining
that might be.
me. Yes. Thank you for 2 hours of your time, Adam Borgmaster Redacted. Do you have anything you would like to shout out?
Yes, you can find my blog. I'm trying to review every 32-bit console game in release order for different
Jesus
consoles.
Christ.
You can find me on fifthgenerationgaming.blog or fifth gen gaming on Twitch, where I stream those games and other nonsense. I'm on Blue Sky, fifth gen gaming, or is it fifth
Mhm.
generation game? It's one of those. It's the same profile picture across everything. So yeah, you can find
Mhm.
me there. You can yell at me on the Giant Bomb forums about how I'm wrong about Virtual Cop. Uh, but yeah, so check it out. I have like 100 posts in. I've reviewed few hundred games at this point.
Nice. And I am uh, M, the Mistress of Games Palladino. You can find me on the internet everywhere as GamemakerM. I'm on Blue Sky. You can go on itch. Itch slash, is it itch slash or is it slash? I don't know. GamemakerM on itch to play any of the games that I made. I have tabletop games mostly. I have a horror game. I have a bunch of different stuff. And if you want to get in touch with the show, you can do so at deeplistenspodcast@gmail.com. Email us to tell us we're wrong about blueprints. You can also
Yeah,
support
fight
the
me.
show. Yeah, fight Borgmaster on our Discord by supporting us at patreon.com/deeplistens. And you can go into the comment sections at deeplistens.libsyn.com. And I think that is going to do it for us at exactly 2 hours. Signing off. Till next time, peace.